Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. Test, test, 1 2, 1 2, test.
Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like it burns. So give him something.
Mic level 1 2, 1 2. Mic level 1 2, 1 2. Mic level 1 2, 1 2.
Yeah, he's calling all his friends to get some action. Distraction right now. It's fine. Got Lucy on the line, let's get this started. Push the party tonight. I feel good, nothing weighs me down. I can't believe my luck right now. Red eyes while he said, don't you wanna have fun? Fool around with someone. Don't you wanna have fun? Never mind my dumb heart. It needs a little kickstart. 'Cause don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Ooh, who needs a job to pay the rent? He's busy. Gotta feel free sometimes, but what doesn't make you will only make you stronger if you believe what they say. Might be that another day she would have wished to stay, but they're done. Red eyes while he said, don't you wanna have fun? Fool around with someone. Don't you wanna have fun? Never mind my dumb heart. It needs a little kickstart. 'Cause don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun?
No problem, guys. Glad that you could stop by, man. Appreciate you for being here.
Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like that. It hurts, so giving something worse to pass the time. Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around with someone. Don't you wanna have fun? Never mind my dumb heart.
Check, check.
Needs a little kickstart. 'Cause don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? I can get you through this one.
Guys, bear with me just a second as I think we just got our screen to work. Okay. Looks like everything's up and running there. As I am still on the road, we are broadcasting from Hotel back into state of West Virginia now. And hopefully by tomorrow we will be back into our home studio and things work out a lot smoother. Be back to our normal times and everything like that. So it has been a little bit of a challenge. Just getting everything stepped up here, but I think we are good to go now. Okay, so we're going to always start out with Bitcoin looking at the bigger time frames, looking on the daily. The daily has been okay for Bitcoin. Had a nice little run up rather than the run down. Can't complain about that. Still flirting with the Ichimoku cloud, which could bring us down more. And I'm actually looking for a possibility of testing these areas around 28,000. But as the days go by, as time goes by during the day, it's starting to look like it's getting a little bit of strength. Maybe avoid some of these areas. So coming down to our 4 hour, start looking a little bullish on us. Getting some signs that maybe tomorrow, being Monday, when the markets open back up, instead of the lackluster price action that we've seen over this weekend, which is kind of standard for the weekends right now, at this point in the market, we may actually start seeing a bounce up as we gain support here. 3 bounces off at this area around 29,000, 29,001. See if we can figure out anything here in the charts real quick. We do seem to be in somewhat of a symmetrical type triangle here at the bottom, and it could just as easily be a bull pennant, which could take us down to these price areas. We do have a measured move that would possibly take us down right to about 28,000, just a little under. But right now we're seeing some bullish movement here. The spike that we've had in the last 4 hours has brought us up not quite as high as we needed to go. We needed to get above 29,538. We got about 29,528. So until we actually get past that previous area right here, we're still kind of sideways and still could come to the downside. But there are some signs here in the smaller time frames that it does want to continue, try to get up and maybe reclaim this area at about 29,800. So that's what we got our eyes on, and usually we do see the markets kind of pick up usually around Tuesday during the week. Mondays are kind of a free-for-all where anything can go, and a lot of times we do see a lot of downside on that. But right now, signs are pointing that tomorrow may be a pretty exciting day, at least for Bitcoin. We'll check on Bitcoin dominance in the market and see that money is now coming into Bitcoin, driving those prices up. That's going to hurt our altcoins a little bit. We're looking at the possibility of Bitcoin having this inverted head and shoulders pattern, which would have drove it up at that point, and that would have been very bad for altcoins. Instead, that pattern bust, we came down. It's rising up shortly, so it looks like that over the next day or so that it will continue rising until we get up to this area of about almost 50%. There we could have a little hiccup and should expect more downside action out of Bitcoin dominance, and that should be healthy for all altcoins. We look at total 3 to see the altcoin health of the market. And so this weekend we had a little bit of a dump in some of them. Some of them popped off. But basically what we see happening here for altcoins in general is a breakout of this falling wedge pattern. Broke out, came back, retested it, got this nice wick, broke back into the pattern for a minute, but where candle body closed outside it, so that's a good sign. Possible to find support here, and then we'll start continuing upward into our larger pattern that we've been following for weeks, which is extremely bullish, but going to take a long time to play out. So we're just waiting for these candles to come up to the top, just confirm this very much larger pattern, and then we could possibly be looking at a very nice altcoin season where all the money that we're hoping to make should start coming into fruition there. Should start seeing that play out. But it is going to take a little time. Probably will not see it for another month or two, as we got several weeks just to come up to confirm this pattern. But overall, it looks hopeful that that is where we're headed. So I'm going to check out a few altcoins that we've had our eyes on here in the show, and I want to start out with one that I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to. We had the Floki SafeMoon people come in and to our chat and kind of bombard us with requests on this. It's turned out, it is a meme coin, doesn't really have much of a purpose, but hey, they're kind of fun to play with and definitely can be profitable if you catch them at the right times. Now, when we first started following Floki SafeMoon, it was going up, and I think we were around here, and it continued going up. And in my mind, that was just too risky to even think about getting in. Well, and it played out like it normally should. After a parabolic movement to the upside, we had this huge dump down, and I was telling you guys that it would be down and sideways for a while as we reaccumulate. We came to a bottom area. It actually went a little lower than I anticipated there, formed a new bottom, and that made me think, well, why not give this one a shot since it's at such a low area? So right in this area, I decided to put a little skin in the game and get into it. Tonight, after watching this price structure, we were in this rising channel, and we will continue in that price structure until we're not. And today we started breaking that, so that was a good time for me to exit that position, and I did, and moonbagged it. So pulled out all my capital, so I just got a free little bag of Floki SafeMoon sitting there. So my game plan with this one is, as this one comes back down and possibly makes another double bottom at the same area, maybe a little higher, may try to moonbag another little set of it, buy some more at these lower areas here. So just watching it for price to come down and sideways again. I have no risk in this one whatsoever anymore, and that's just how I like to play these. It's not always easy at this point in the market to moonbag things, but when you get a chance, I highly recommend that try to go with that strategy. But that surprisingly has been one that I jumped into recently and has done very well. Another one that we mentioned recently is one called MHUNT. It's available on MEXC. It's a meta shooter. One of those crazy Binance smart play gameplays, but had a nice rounding structure right here. Caught my eye. I saw signs of it going parabolic on smaller time frames. This is the weekly time frame here. And just moving down to the daily. This is where I started seeing some bullish sentiment. It kind of touched into my little buy zone, not very deeply. Lots of buy and sell pressure on both sides, but it's basically going to the upside. The biggest reason that I went ahead and jumped in rather than waiting for it to fill this little box is because it may not come back down here. This little area is probably past. Or if it does, it will be a little while. But the biggest thing was the way the moving averages are. Price is riding above the 9 on the daily. Very strong move. You're getting the 50 moving average, getting ready to cross over the 200, which is technically a buy signal. So we like to front run those since these are kind of lagging indicators. And everything is pointing that this one still has lots of move to the upside. It's got a lot of potential going right now. The thing that caught my eye was this bearish pattern, this rising channel, this rising wedge right here, these dotted lines. And when price starts breaking out bullishly from a bearish pattern, you typically find parabolic price movement. It's just now getting started, so even now buying at the current levels kind of goes against some traditional trading strategies, but when we're starting to go for a very parabolic move, I can't blame you for jumping in at these higher levels. Normally we try to wait for things to be down on the low side to jump in, but in these certain situations, this is your buy zone, right where price is now. And do expect it from this area to come up to our first target at 0.0139, and that's going to be a 24% return. Fully expect it to reach this particular area, 1618 Fibonacci move at 35%. That's at 0.0152. Now there is a very good chance we will come back down to this 0.0107 area, retest that before making it up there. Very possible, and that would be an excellent place to jump in if you want to make a little bit more of a conservative play on this. But chances are, if you are messing with this one in the first place, you're probably not a very conservative person. QNT's been making some moves this weekend. That's nice to see. It needs to do something. It has been boring me to tears these past 5 or 6 months. I'm going to take a look at it over here on KuCoin. And we can see that it got up to 114. That's nice, since it was hanging around at $99 for the longest. Still not the big moves that we want to see from it. We know this one can get up to $500, and that's what we're hoping for. Just taking a sweet time to get up to those areas. The nice thing is that on the daily, it looks like it has found bottom territory. It is definitely respecting this trend line now. And overall, we're getting a breakout. We can zoom out just a little bit here. It was interesting. It looked like it was doing an inverted head and shoulders, but as you see, there wasn't really that great of a neckline. It technically did have one. This did not play out as expected. It only got a partial move to the upside. The target for that was actually up here at, for this move, is $445. Now, those numbers kind of make me salivate at the mouth just a little bit, considering that we're around $99 now and haven't even started into the bull market into a full-fledged bull run. So that's why this is one of my long-term holds, because I think that it is going to make outstanding numbers when we actually do get into our bull market. Now, this is not yet a failed pattern, because price is not broken down below this right shoulder area right here. But it's just odd to see how it's played out sideways, making this triangle shape, this descending triangle. But it still means that this particular pattern, the inverted head and shoulders, see if we can draw this out here just a little clearer with our drawing tools. When they decide not to hide from me. But this may help some of you new guys tuning in see what I'm talking about here. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder, inverted, upside down. Usually play out pretty good. Now the retracements retest like we have right here, call it a throwback, where price comes back to the breakout area, even flirting with this right shoulder bottom area. As long as we don't break down below that, it's still valid, but this does hurt the performance. So the chances of it reaching this target up here start to become a little bit more slim, at least in the shorter term time frame. Definitely we will get up there eventually, but this one's going to have a lot of sideways action for a little bit. But there is some hope for at least getting up here to about 227. That's a nice little target to shoot for right there over the next few months, playing this as a long-term play. Short-term plays, if you're just wanting to trade this, it is getting a correction right now, so it will be coming back down to these lower areas. I'm kind of looking at this area about 105, maybe testing that one again. Got to do a little analysis here. Ichimoku cloud looks very strong, so it's got a lot of upward movement, a lot of potential for it to keep going up. Currently is wick down to the 21 moving average. That corresponds with our 618 Fibonacci. So this wick down here may be as low at 107. That may be as low as we see it go on the smaller time frames. Maybe reclaiming that ground, common area for it to take a bounce and before it starts making more upside. And in my opinion, on the 4 hour, that is probably what it is doing. The good news about that is that it gives us a target of $123 now with that bounce. And maybe up to 126. So from the current areas where it's at about $1.09, you're looking at about a 12 to 15% increase or return on investment there. Not the greatest short-term trade unless you're using some kind of leverage or perpetual futures, but for us long-term holders and bag holders, it's going to be some nice, slow and steady gains out of this one, in my personal opinion. Until that one day when they realize how low of a supply this coin actually is, drives demand up, and then we'll start seeing those juicy prices that we're really waiting for. Just checking out some of the bigger time frames now, looking at price structure overall, looks nice. I think I will adjust this trend line right there where it fits nicely. And once I do that, line it up with these candle tops, then you can really see where we've retested that area, coming back to these smaller time frames, just coming right down right near that breakout area. Still a chance it could test down here at 105. But it looks like we found support at the 618, and we will be going up for QNT. My personal opinion there. Keep losing my chat for some reason. DeFi guys in the house, how's it going? Just want to look at your coin, ASTAR, here tonight. It's on my list to do. Road, what happened to your mic? It sounds horrible. That I'm on a mobile setup. I am been streaming from the hotel, so I don't have as great of a setup right now, and it probably does sound a little bit rough. So everything should be back to normal tomorrow night. Hopefully, be back in the home studio. But since you're here, that was on my list, because I think that one's been moving today. So ASTAR, trying to stick with MEXC for most of these coins, if I can find it listed there. Just seeing the perpetuals there for some reason. So nice. 4 hour chart is looking really nice on this. Let's zoom out just a little bit. So the daily chart, so it's been a really good week for ASTAR. So it's starting its moving averages got all tight, intertwined here. We broke above it, got above the 9. 9 was crossing the 100. These were all great signs. We talked about those before, mentioned that it was in a rising channel. It's starting to try to break out of that channel. It's very bullish. Let's hope that it can do it. It's getting rejection at the 200 moving average on the daily. That is the area it's got to cross to become officially bullish. And it may not do it on the first run here. It may take it a couple, but it looks like it is just doing the right things right there. I'm going to take a little bit of a different perspective on this and just kind of zoom out and show you some bigger ideas that have a little bit more weight, in my personal opinion, for this move. This was a bullish megaphone pattern overall when you zoom out. We can even zoom out more and find some other patterns, but this is currently what we can look at. 70% chance that it breaks to the upside. Target would be right up here about what, 732, right about the resistance area there where it started. Much like the rising wedges, they typically go back to the point where they start. So we've got that to look forward to. And from where we are, probably will not go up there immediately. Expect some sideways action, probably some retest of these areas about just under 5 cents. Currently it's trading at 5.6 cents. But looking at this target at 7.5 cents, that would be a 32% return on your investment there. Just jumping in now, I don't recommend you do that. I recommend you wait till it gets above the daily, just to be on the safe side. But just coming back to the 4 hour, 4 hour is very bullish at the moment. Indicators indicate that are showing that it actually wants to. It's not done yet. It's getting ready to do something else. It's wanting to take off on the smaller time frames. 1 hour, ready to go. This level of this level's been maintained at 5.4. She's getting ready to move. She's looking good. So anyone that got in on it down in these areas where we were down at the 200 moving average on the 4 hour, when we got our bullish cross of the 50 over the 200, that was the buy signal. Anybody getting in there should be up about 30% on their investment right there. Trade. This candle here, these candles here, that one there, you see the support resistance flip of this rising wedge. This is this indicates that we could also see some parabolic action out of this in the short term, which would be a quick move up to the 7.5 cents. So this week, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting a quick move from ASTAR. So things are looking good for that one. So DeFi guy, I'm glad you mentioned that on the show, because probably would not have found this otherwise. But you know, it had its run, and this is typically what we're seeing with a lot of these coins. We had the parabolic move up, down, and sideways, reaccumulation. And when we get tired of reaccumulating, we try to run that scenario all over again. And this one's doing a little bit sooner than I expected, but no complaints here. Next little guy I want to take a look at is Caspa. So one that's was slipping by me. Don't have a bag as big as I'd like of this. I wish I got a little bit more involved with this at lower prices, but that is what it is. Seems that it is in a rising channel. Getting a little toppy there, seems like. Let's go ahead and zoom out to these bigger time frames. Your bigger time frames always have more weight than your smaller one. There's some bearish divergence there indicating that get rejection at the top of this trend line. I'm still looking at these areas about 1026, 1029. There's a possibility it may come back here. It may not. There's a lot of money flow coming into this one. It is getting a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of a correction. And if this is a strong move, which it looks like that it is, these two areas right here would be your best buy zones. And that will be at 3 cents and 3.3 cents. So just some ideas for CASPA. If you're looking to add into your position, go back to these areas would be a good place in my opinion. Still hoping maybe you will get a better shot at a little under 3 cents, because that can still do that and still remain bullish. But overall, I think this is one that we should probably pay a little bit more attention to in the bull market. Probably one that you might want to make sure that you're taking advantage of. Here's one that nobody's talking about: Bitcoin Gold. And it's had a nice run today. So this little guy's been hanging around about anywhere from $10 to $12, and now we're up to 17. Not one most people look at. It is a fork of Bitcoin. It may have a future based on scarcity, and maybe some development that they decide to go into. Don't know. I have been in on this project. I may have some stacked away somewhere. I've really got to check with price going up. With that nice spike today, coming down the 4 hour, very bullish, coming up and flagging out after a break out of a falling wedge. This one's getting ready to do, it's got some more steam. So one to put on your radar. If someone wanted to try to get in, and then I would try to get in somewhere around this 9 moving average on the 4 hour. Somewhere around 14 cents, a little bit under $15. Currently we're at 17, and it doesn't look like it wants to stop yet. If anything, I'll pull back to this area at 15.52, maybe. But it's nice to see some of these older coins pop off, and that does give us hope for the rest of our altcoins. Let's zoom out a little here on Bitcoin Gold just to get an overall view of it. This one does have 21 million coins, limited supply. Best I remember. Finding support on the 786 Fibonacci. And in my opinion, that definitely makes this crazy price prediction right here possibly reality. Imagine going from $17 to $429. That is a target right there. The 2.7 Fibonacci. Not about to happen anytime soon. I'm on the 3-day chart here, but it does have that potential. Remember, it's last top that will have to come up to meet to try to test $157. So you guys might want to search your hearts and see if this one's one that might fit for you, because of 800% return. You know, that's kind of what we're in this for, right? A lot of people scoff at these Bitcoin forks, but I think as time goes on and more people come into this market, more developments are made, we might actually find some use cases for some of these forks. Let's take a look at it real quick. And this one has been down for a while. Usually like in 2017, during that bull run, anything that had Bitcoin in it was getting bought up. And these had a great heyday in those times. That's when we saw this one reach up to almost $500 just from having Bitcoin in its name. And that's how crazy some of these bull markets get. It could definitely do that again. Now, the last one they had in 21, it didn't quite get up to the high, but it did get up to $131. So is there a law of diminishing returns here? If so, we could look at the 618 of that area. So we could easily see this one at least double, maybe triple in price at the very least. 21 million supply, 17 million out in circulation, $302 million market cap. It's got room to move. So let's take a Fibonacci from that swing high to swing low from the last one. If you wanted a conservative target on this one, $41 and $56 would be the one you'd shoot for. And doing that from its current price would be 276 return. Just something to put on your radar. I kind of like the way this one was looking on the charts. JN, hey, welcome to Strega. Strega's in the house. OP's doing good today. Hope you're having fun, Road Dog. It's been a fun trip. It has. It's been a tiring trip though. JN, can you look at rep? It's still doing nothing. Rep is going to continue doing nothing until it gets through with its consolidation. Where do I have it? Let's just go with this one. I think I have it charted on this one. So I'm on a very high time frame here. So my opinion on this basically is that as long as it stays around $1.74 or over, I'm still in it. Once we hit the $1.74 and go below it, I'm out. I'm selling out because that's below this wick. This whole trade idea will be over in my opinion. This wick right here where price went parabolic up to the upside, and we just discussed this on the other coins too. When you see price go up, it has a run up, it's going to go sideways and it's going to go down and sideways in accumulation for a while. That's what we're seeing here, and that's actually healthy. Now the lowest point that we saw in this, it made a range. It was right here at $1.74. If we go below that, this idea it's invalid in my opinion. We would be seeing lower seeing lower prices. It could come all the way back down to $1. I'm not going to ride that. I'm not going to be involved with that. It's not fun. I did moonbag this, so I do have some that's free and clear with that nice move up. Remember, we caught this at $1 on the channel. It went up to $3.31. It's one of our successful plays. Made a video on it. It was mentioned by Token Metrics. That's how I found out about it. But doing some research on it, I'm not convinced that this one's going to be a valid project to hold on to for a long-term hold. I'm not seeing the activity that we need on it. So I'm making that clear every time that I do talk about it. My video was excited about it, but especially since Token Metrics was on it, but it appears that their research wasn't as in-depth as what I was led to believe. It looks like it's got promise. It's a fully decentralized gambling, like casino type thing, sports betting thing. But there's no activity on it. So how is it possibly going to get up to those crazy $500 numbers that we've seen in it before? There's nothing there to drive it there. I think we just have some speculators drive the price up, possibly, unless there's something going on in the back burner that I don't know about. So we can get some of our targets out of the way here, since a lot of them have already been hit. Actually, they've all been hit. So we played this nice. If you bought it at the right time at $1, you're doing great. I put a little bit more in, around $2.12, I think, and then again at 184. So on those plays, I'm a little under. My moon bag compensates for that, and so that's my game plan. If we drop below 174, we're at 179 now. It's holding just fine. But I'd recommend that you have a line in the sand of when to get out and cancel your trade so that you don't lose. I mean, there is a chance for it to come back down, although the signs are saying we're doing good right now. So, I mean, that's the best way that I can figure out to play this. Line in the sand at 174 and just give it time to do what it's doing. It's starting to round out here. So if you, in my personal opinion, just based on what I've seen and how this stuff kind of works, after this run up, we just kind of, you know, I expect it to round out something like that. Maybe even make a, you know, prices coming in from the upside, it could actually make a true cup and handle. And for a really good cup and handle pattern, you want it to slowly accumulate in a nice rounded shape, right? We don't want these little quick spikes and things like that to make that. That's not how it truly plays out. And that's where we could be seeing these much higher time frames getting back up to $5 to $6. So it just takes a little patience with them. Generally, if you have anxiety over these tokens or something, you've either got too much leverage in your position, or you've just got too big of a position. Maybe put too much in, or, you know, bought a little too high. And if you buy too high, the only remedy you can do is put more money into it when it's lower to bring down your average cost, and just wait until we get back up. But it should come up here to at least 254, retest this 200 moving average on the 4 hour. It's just, you know, this was the move. It's got to recover from that. It lost a lot of energy with that big drive up. Overall, I think it's good until, like I said, that line in the sand, 174. I really don't expect it to see it go down there, but if it does, I'll be watching. Jan says, once break even, I'm out. I can understand your logic in that. And that happens to me on coins. When I get in one, expect it to do good, and it does, and it goes sideways. I go underwater for a while. I'm going to say this at this point in the market. What works best for me in those situations now is when you get back to break even, maybe just take half out. That way you lighten your position. Because a lot of times when I decide to do that, when they get back up to those points, and I'm tired of messing with it because I got in wrong and had to ride it through down, and it got back up to break even, and I'm just like, oh, let me get out of this, I'm done. That's usually when they start taking off, and they do really well, and then you kick yourself for getting out way too early. So just some ideas to consider. My strategy in this bull market that I learned from the last time is don't sell all your position. Keep some of it. And especially early in the market. Now, through the middle of the bull run, it doesn't matter as much, but in these early stages, because it's easy to just get tired of a project and think it's not going to do anything, you know, get out at a small profit and then just kick yourself as it just takes off in 10x's or 20x's. So, but I do understand. I mean, that's a normal way to feel. It's normal to feel that way. Can be that it hits my sell order as a liquid grab at 174 and then up from there. Yeah. No, I just wanted a fast small profit and then it dumped. Okay. Your average buy is about 250. Well, that's right where the moving average is coming in at 250. So that would give you a chance to break even, getting back up to that. And it's either going to get rejected there, or it's going to find support there. And if it finds support, that then we will see more upside for sure. So it sounds like you can get a good plan on how to work with it. But yeah, it's easy when you start seeing all the price movement and everything going to the upside to feel like it, you know, it can just keep going forever or something like that. Most of this market, and I'm dared to say 95% of this market is all psychological, if not all of it. And they know how to make you feel a certain way. Jen says it's not bull market yet. It's pre-halving year. Most of the times we go before halving and then down, and then the bull market start hopping for that final alt crash. This one should be an interesting one, as we got a lot more adoption and a lot more institutional adoption just chomping at the bit to get in on, especially your main OG coins. And you know, it will come over to the altcoins as well. But overall, the chart by itself on rep is doing just fine. It's in a nice area. I think we pulled a Fibonacci here, right? So I mean, we haven't even made it down to the 618. You're finding support on the 50% area. And to me, that's very bullish. It can very easily come down to this $1.58 area. And it might, but I'm not going to be in it when it does. I might reaccumulate some when it does, but I'm not going to write it down there. All right, DCR, talked about that quite a bit. This is Decred. It's a hybrid chain that does mining and also proof of stake, although I think they're starting to lean a little bit more toward proof of stake right now. But, a nice one that I always regretted when I didn't buy enough at $12. But it seems to be doing pretty well. If I find the right place to get the chart here, let's just go with finance. So it's currently at $15 right now, and $12 to $15, great buy zones in my personal opinion, because I've shown this a lot. Last time it was down in these areas, and this is when I was playing it in the last bull run. Came down to $11, $12, and then it just went over a period of a couple months, but pretty much just straight up to $250. So the chances of it doing something like that again, you know, worth looking at since we're back at these levels. We know it can get up there. We know this one has a limited supply. But even just coming up to $60 from there, I mean, you easily 4 or 5 extra money at these levels. It's just a nice one to play in my personal opinion, so I like to keep up with this one. Currently, we've had a little bit of a bear trap here, which is a good sign. Broke back into this falling wedge pattern. It's a shallow falling wedge. They usually do very well. Has a real big spike where it hit $70 back in August last year. Nice little run up because it was hanging around 24 for the longest. Nice little 3x there. And I do foresee that target coming back into play very soon. If we take our measured move for that pattern, put it about where we could break out, that gives us a measured move right around $56. And getting in at what price is this? About $16, going up to 66, 243% return. This is one that I've got for a long-term hold that I've accumulated from under $20 all the way down to about $11, $12. Added a lot more to that bag and just want to let it ride. Come back over to the chat here. On this setup, you guys can't see when I pull up the chat screen, so I just have to go through each one. Hey, there's Grizz in the house. Missed the lives lately, not a problem. Lives have been kind of iffy anyway on the road, so lots of sound issues and stuff like that. Can you look at 1 day and 1 week KSM? Maybe a good long-term play. That was one I liked when I was on KuCoin, and I was trying to do that for a long-term play until I had to exit there. So Kusama, right? The test chain for Polkadot, which has not been doing very much at all for the past 8 months or so. Personally, these are in great price ranges for Kusama, about $23, because this one, like the others, gets up very, very high. A little bit below its last low, but right now it's right at it. So the current price is an area that we need to hold and stay above if we want to continue seeing more upward action. And I think it's got a very good chance to do that. Just got to reclaim this 9 moving average on the weekly. But zooming out on Kasama, I mean, we see it got up to almost, it did get up past $600 and currently at $23. It's not bad if you can wait that long. And I do think it's a good long-term hold. Can't remember the tokenomics on it, but it can't be a whole bunch of them out in circulation. 10 million, less than okay, and there's 8.9 million out in circulation, 208 market cap. This one can easily get into the $1 billion market cap. We told us that here. Fully diluted right now is 232. And for it to get back to its all-time high, that would be almost I think about 5 billion market cap. So weekly chart looks like we're doing a double bottom scenario. Nice formation right there. Get this kind of a W pattern that's starting to form. So we can get our tools to work here for us and blow this up so you guys can see it. Price coming down. It did a double bottom here, came up, and now we're just kind of retesting those areas. So price should come back up to this area. And it may flag out, go sideways there, but that will give us the target that we need for this double bottom area. And it's right up here to about $105, $106. And that fits this support resistance area that we need to flip. So for the bigger picture, that's what we're looking for. And it will take it a long time to play out. Coming down to the daily, you basically got the bullish megaphone pattern, maybe a weird looking inverted head and shoulders pattern inside it. Just basically going through the outer edges of the pattern. It's the best way to play it. We can even zoom out more and see that we're in a following channel. And this is actually how I would typically want to play that, or something like this. You could look at it as actually being some kind of falling wedge, but it has too much space in there, so we want to kind of go with more touches there. So falling channel is kind of about a 65% chance to break to the upside there. And it looks like we found a partial decline area here, so it's all looking good. We should be coming back up to this 200 moving average somewhere around $30 before long. If I am not mistaken, this was actually in a cipher pattern. Which is actually a bullish pattern. It's just doing a type 2 retest for this before it comes back up, and we can easily see it go back up to 6. This pattern says it goes back up to 600. It just came down back, did a type 2 retest of this bottom area right here. But this is not typical of my style. This is something that I look at, I study, but it's not mainly what I use. I'm not an expert with this particular stuff, but just thought I'd share that part with you. It says that we number go up, basically, in time. Bullish. Just going to take some patience on that one. Strega says XLM found down, going down. Kind of weird that the test network had better gains than DOT last cycle. It is, isn't it? Hopefully DOT will get its... I'm getting tired of holding DOT. I just got it there staking. It's just been in the $4 to $6 range for way too long, just hanging right around $5 all the time. So it's testing my patience too. But when it gets to $50, I don't think I'll feel that way, and we see it do that. But yeah, it is kind of weird. And I guess it has something to do with the supply, 10 million, whereas Polkadot, I've already forgot what Polkadot had for total supply. Infinity. Well, that makes you feel comfortable. Kusama does seem like the better deal to go with, actually. I always thought it was weird that they needed a separate special test net that could stand on its own. But whatever. Take a look at Dogechain. Now that I do not have a nice bag of this, after the KuCoin migration, it's decided to pop. I think I have a little tiny minuscule bag of it on MEXC, which is slightly bigger now, but nothing that's gonna make me a millionaire anytime soon. But it is looking good. It's finally got its run. Took it forever. It has not been a good player by my TA. Possible Adam and Eve with another little Adam and Eve there. That technically did play out where it was supposed to go, but it's just been very erratic. I personally don't have a lot of faith in this one, because it doesn't make sense to me why you would take Dogechain and put it onto the Ethereum network and claim that you're doing something for Dogechain. It does not work in my mind. Let's make sure I'm saying the right things here. Dogechain is an ERC20 token. How does that benefit Doge? You have to wrap it up? Well, you can do that on anything, right? So for a long-term hold, I'm really not interested in this one. I think I will clear all this stuff out. And I think that's actually when it got started. Yeah, in September. It hasn't been around very long. Its all-time high was 0.0046 cents. All-time low was 0.0035, and it's currently at 0.0086. So we've got this very tough trend line that it just has not seemed to be able to get past yet. You could look at it doing a retest of this bottom trend line here. That's saying that's going to have trouble getting up above that. Also look at it this way. Now that's a little bit more bullish with this particular formation here, that it may break up to the upside. So lots of interesting little patterns within patterns. But it is nice to see it come from 0.00006 to 0.0012 and down to 0.00088. So there's been some nice gains there. Ichimoku Cloud says it can still do something. Are getting some parabolic structure there. And currently retesting the 50% Fibonacci level, very likely to come back down to 0.0000747 area. But in my personal opinion, I think this one is kind of a risky play as far as a use case and everything, how it plays out. But for any of you guys that are in it, I think it's going to be a very slow mover, but eventually I think that we can get back up here to 0.013 cents. And that would be, that's a nice return actually. And that's a 15x. 1500% return for it to do that, but you can see it's more like a lottery ticket. I will say this on the daily, the thing that's one of the things that's going forward is the money flow starting to come up to the upside, so that's generally a good sign when that does happen. But she has been moving. And this area right here at this 21 moving average, and if this trend line does correspond with this little green box that I put right there too, yeah, it's a good place to maybe dip your toes back into it as we retest this support resistance area that we've got to flip. 0.000762 is the buy target. And coming up to the top of the trend line here at 0.00126 gives you 65% return just for a short-term trade. I think it might be interesting for that. Here's one that we looked at that is totally disappointed me. And it looked really good on the charts. It was actually, I thought it had a lot more potential out of all the ones that we looked at. I think we looked at MHUNT, MetaShooter, and Floki Safe, a bunch of them when we were looking at this one. And it looked like it was flagging out right there, but it broke market structure. I think we were looking at it over here. We had this line, but we were also looking at this particular trend line where it was flagging out. And we talked about the possibility of it not working out, but it did look like it was going to keep going up. And I did buy a little bit right up here, which is down about 36%. So that one did not play out as well. It's been a little bit disappointing. However, the other ones I got into that were Binance Smart plain chains that we looked at that night has kind of made up for it. But that one was a disappointment. So you had a choice. I had a choice to do. I added a little bit in on this just to bring my average down, because I'm still going to play this a little bit. And if it goes too crazy down, I'll probably throw it into Floki Safe Moon. It was surprising to me that Floki Safe Moon actually is hedging the trade that I thought would actually play out, which didn't. And then Floki Safe Moon comes in and turns out to be the winner of it. But this is very similar to what we were looking at on rep, where we had the parabolic run up and then down and sideways accumulation. And this can go on for a little while. So we should start seeing, get the right tool here. Should start seeing more of a rounding accumulation here. And on REP on auger too. Same thing we're going to see. This is a lot like the auger chart, really. Just don't have the earlier price history over here. But it's reminiscent of a bump and run pattern. And it's a lot like a REP or auger. Doing the same thing. So your line in the sand on this one would be this wick. Price comes below that wick. This is over. It's done with. You're probably looking at retesting this double bottom if it breaks below this little line here. But it doesn't look like it's going to do it yet. So interesting. Still got skin in the game on this and just kind of letting it do what it does for a little while. Nice little bottoming signal there. Just coming to retest it. But going over the winners and the losers that we had. Also want to take a look at ATOR protocol. I am not in on this one, but it looks like we've looked at it before. It's in a rising channel. It's been doing good these past few days. Found support here at the bottom. Working its way up, and I got targets on it at 71 cents, 75 cents, and 81 cents. Currently at 50 cents now. We were looking at it when it was around 37, 38 cents. So it is on the move and still has another 44.50 to 64% from its current levels. It is a tricky spot, so I wouldn't recommend FOMOing in right now to it because it's got to get above this area. So if you're not in it and thinking about maybe giving this one a shot, your best way to play this is wait till you confirm support on the retest and buy right there at 0.051 cents when we retest that support. Flip this as support and then we got more upside. Otherwise, you're just flirting with the possibility of buying the top and watching your money go down as it gets rejected. But overall, I do like what I'm seeing here. And it should come back up to the top of the channel here and nice little move to about 83 cents there. Take a look at the chat here. Chris says if DC Doge changes is bringing utility to Doge and Doge will be the gas fee coin, wouldn't you want Doge? I mean, it would create demand for Doge. Yeah, exactly. It makes no sense to have an ERC20. Especially, they are coming out with the DC20 or the DCR. Doge Chain is getting their own token. They're building that ecosystem out. So this Doge Chain coin, I think, is really just ultimately a money grab. I can't see any legitimate use personally. It doesn't make sense. You would build on your own chain. You don't forward Bitcoin on Ethereum. You only forward, help Ethereum tokens on Ethereum. So just something odd. Did we check out UNIBOT? That was one. I think this will be the last one I go over tonight. It's been pumping. It's worth looking at. Some of these Telegram bot coins have been doing very well. And I think that's something to look at. I think Telegram's going to grow a lot. And I mean, I know we use it for our group and everything. It's a nice platform, but there is so much potential there that got derailed when the SEC came after them a couple of years ago and kind of stifled some of their plans. But they're starting to get back into motion again, and they've got some good things. I think Telegram's going to be very useful for crypto space. We got a rising channel currently with UNIBOT, which is bearish. That's what it's doing, breaking to the downside. May see it come back down to about $66. That's how this typically plays out. And if it does, I think that might be one to look at. So not time to get in this. It's just time to kind of watch this one and see where it's going to bottom out. But it may. The 618 area is here at 74, 786 area is at 56. We'll just keep an eye on this one. But just kind of wanted to bring that one up there. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. If you could hit that like button while you're here to help the channel, I don't know, reach out to some new people. Be greatly appreciated. The time's now 12:10, and I think I'm just going to call this one short. And tomorrow we should be back home into the regular studio, and hopefully we'll see you guys there. But I appreciate you for stopping by and for hanging out with me tonight. Been a crazy weekend, and it'll probably be a crazy day tomorrow. Mondays are very, usually kind of bearish and hectic. So trade very carefully. Watch Bitcoin. We'll take one more look at Bitcoin here. It surprised me with some upward movement, and I was foreseeing it coming down to 28. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm fine to be wrong. It's starting to show a little bit more bullish activity, and since now we're coming into Monday and to the beginning of the week, when the institutions want to start building up their bags again, maybe we won't see the 28. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. It's starting to show some more bullish undertones right now, which I'm very happy with. And tomorrow we'll start looking at the monthly candle close too. We'll dissect that and see how that plays in. But just zooming out to the weekly chart. If we were to come down to 28, we're still fine. And we're still bullish overall. We're in the middle of this big Ichimoku cloud on the weekly. We've been watching this go in and talked about how we can come down in it, and we did. And we can bounce around inside this, but eventually it spits us out over here on the other side, somewhere around 32,000. And then we go up from there. So it's just playing this out. I don't see anything overly bearish for Bitcoin, just minor corrections. We're still doing very, very well with Bitcoin. I mean, we've got this trend line that we're nowhere near breaking. We did break that one. And now we are currently respecting this one. And coming down to the 4 hour, how close are we to that? Did I just lose it? Where did you go? Oh, this one right here. Yeah, we're way away from that. But, there's some confluence there with the 28.8. So even if we came down here, we're still good. This does look a lot like a bear flag that could bring us down here. So just keeping our eyes on Bitcoin this week, but I would not be surprised if it goes up and fakes us all out. My personal opinion, institutions are trying to get positioned in this, so driving the prices down for that to happen. Not surprised. And I am looking at this, make that a solid line. This megaphone pattern is what I'm actually seeing for overall. We were in a rising wedge, broke to the downside. Now we got this megaphone pattern, which is bullish. 60% chance this breaks to the upside. And it's got a long way to go to 32. Hit 32, we got 38 ahead of us. So, but just watching for possibilities here. But it does look like we found support there. So I think Bitcoin's looking bullish right now. All right, guys, I appreciate you for stopping by, and I will see you tomorrow night, guys. Have a good one.
Come on, come here, bud. Come on. You freaky dog. I don't need to analyze every word that comes out is a lie. Make it look like it's so ice. You won't make it to the finish line. If you gotta know the truth was gonna let you go. You was fine, never mind, unpredictable. Feet out of the ground, you ain't no one. You was star, blow it up like supernova. In the nighttime, hit my hotline. Sharing secrets, you was part your life. Basic bullets, Vietnam bullets. Does your wifey know you're begging for my notice? Promise you're the same. Running for the meds. Sure you like my vibe. That's my candy on my wrist. Bad habits. Little rabbit. Now sit down, you can have it.